Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariana, and if you're new here, welcome. So today what I'm going to be talking about is how to get an A not only in anatomy and physio, but also in microbiology. These tips I did in every class to get an A in, so hopefully this helps you as well. So tip number one is to create a study schedule. I know I've mentioned this multiple times in my video, but really this is going to help you. It's going to create routine in your life. Even though you have a job and school, like, this will also be something that's scheduled in as a routine. Just like when you work out, that's kind of how I see it. And also, if you have a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment, it's not like you're going to show up for that. So it really holds yourself accountable, and it also creates a routine for you. That way you sort of are used to that kind of aspect and that lifestyle. So I think that's really important to create it and stick to it. I know it's very hard to stick to a study schedule, but trust me, once you get into the swing of things and the semester and also your job and that, it's going to really help you see that. And also, Google Calendar really helps me. You can add anything that you want, essentially. So you can put your job schedule, you can put your school schedule, you can put your social events on there, and you can do all these other things that you can visually see how much time you still have to study. Tip number two is to record your lectures, but please get approval from your professors. Please get approval from your professors. Not all allow audio recordings in their classroom, so please get approval from your professor. Most do, but again, please get that approval from your professor. If you do, then that's awesome and that's great. I know some people are able to have accommodations, and if you are looking into having accommodations, please go to your counselor or an academic advisor and see where you can get that those accommodations, because with those accommodations you're able to record no matter what. But that's only if you have those special accommodations. So please, again, ask your professors before you start recording a lecture. Most do, again, but please get that approval. And so if you're able to record your lectures, I use OneNote. That's free with your school email. You can download Microsoft Office, and OneNote is there. And OneNote's really great because it syncs on any device that you have logged in. So whether you have a Windows or Apple, that it's gonna all sync automatically as long as you're logged in. I notice if I use my phone, memory gets eaten up fairly quickly, because I mean, lectures are hour to 2 hours sometimes. So if you can do OneNote, I've never had any issues with OneNote. Just make sure that you remember your password and log in, so that way you can download it on your computer, or you can listen to it on your phone, all that stuff. And then once the semester is over, then delete those audio recordings, because there's no need to keep them, and I believe legally you have to delete them after the semester, because these audio recordings are just specifically to help you with this class and this teacher. That's it. So it's like a verbal contract that you have with the professor in the school, is once you're done with the semester, then delete the recordings, which I do every semester. Tip number three is to review your PowerPoints before class. I know some teachers do posts on Canvas. If you guys do use Canvas, that's a really great resource to get all your lectures ahead, all your PowerPoints, all your some will post notes before, and you can review the syllabus before the class, which is great. If your teacher allows this to happen, then obviously I would download everything that you can and just review the syllabus ahead of time and see what you guys will be going over in class that day or the day before, and just sort of review that PowerPoint for that class. That way you can understand a little bit about what's going on, and if you can read the chapter, then I would read the chapter before, but sometimes time gets the best of us, so if you can just slightly read over the PowerPoint before class, then I would do so, because at least that you're going into class knowing a little bit about what's going to be happening during lecture. Tip number 4 is to recall. I know, especially for anatomy and physio, you have a lot of diagrams, you have a lot of matching, and you need to know specifically where everything is. For example, if you're able to use an iPad, I would download images of the heart and sort of start matching and memorizing essentially what everything looks like and where placements are, and that way you can start getting used to it. And then another tip is invest in a whiteboard. I was able to get this small one, this small one at the dollar store, and this goes with me in my backpack. I know it seems a little intense, but I bring this everywhere with me in my laptop bag, because if I'm ever sort of have some downtime before class, I will write any sort of keywords that I need to memorize, because I know spelling is really important. So I will just fill this whole thing with the same word, knowing that I get every spelling correctly, and I will also try to draw out certain things of where places are, because this is going to help you immensely. And at home, what I've invested in is this sort of whiteboard, and this has helped me so much in anatomy and physio. I get to write everything this way, sort of like a paper format, and I will just recall all the things that I need to know, especially because spelling is so important. So I use this essentially for recalling vocab or key terms, and then I can always draw, or I can always just like visualize where everything is on, say, in the heart. So I will visually draw this, and that way I can just know where everything is, and this has helped me a lot. Some people use their mirror. If you have a mirror at home, you can do that with a dry erase marker and then just use Windex to take it down. You can use a mirror, or you can use a window if that helps, but this small thing is just $1 at the Dollar Tree, and I know they have other sizes as well, so you can look at that. That really helps. And also maybe at the thrift store as well. I know that some do carry whiteboards, so I would invest in a whiteboard, because that's going to help you recall and really visualize where everything is. Again, if you have an iPad, then download some images that don't have the answers in them and just sort of fill out and test yourself daily. Tip number 4 is to re-listen to the lecture. So what I do is, if I'm at a coffee shop, I know this was pre-pandemic, but if you're able to go to a coffee shop, awesome, socially distance. But if not, you can do it at home, obviously. So what my setup is I have the textbook open to the chapter. I have my iPad with the PowerPoint open with the notes that I've taken to class, and I have OneNote open on my laptop, and I will just put headphones on and I will listen to the lecture, sort of. If there's something that I missed, I will pause it, research that in the textbook, read that paragraph, and write some notes in a different color on my iPad. And I noticed that yes, it's going to take a long time, yes, it's time consuming, but I've learned the material. Now I can teach it to somebody else. I'm not just studying to memorize, I'm studying to learn. And when you do this approach, I've noticed a difference, and I know it's a long process, and I know that it's a long sort of time to do it. It's very time consuming, but I noticed that once I do that, that's like my main study time. So I will re-listen to the lecture, and I will write down what I missed in my notes, and that way I can just have like a detailed set of new notes. So I'll write my lecture notes in a different color, say blue, and I will write my re-listen to lecture notes in, say, a green or black pen. So I know the difference, and I can visually see it that way. For my anatomy class, I used to print out all the PowerPoints, all of them, and so I realized that's a waste of paper, and I'm trying to be sustainable, so that's why I did switch to an iPad. I switched to an iPad because I noticed that I was going to save a lot more in ink, because I was running out of ink fairly quickly, and so I decided to make that switch. I just got it actually because I had to save for it, but I got it in the fall last year. So, and I've noticed the difference, and I noticed that it's honestly pretty great. I thought I was going to have issues with it, but because I'm just such a tangible person. When I learned, like, I need to have paper, I need to see it visually, and I noticed that with the iPad that has helped me so much more. You're gonna save a lot in ink. Looked at it as an investment, and it is proven its investment a few times over. So if you put it into that perspective of like how much you have to buy for paper, how much you have to buy ink wise, it sort of outweighs the cost, and you can use a student discount. So if you have your student ID, you can get a discount at the Apple Store. I can't remember how much it was, but I know that it was a reasonable discount. So I know it's back to school, and I know that people are starting to look at certain things such as laptops or iPads. If you're able to do so, I'm not saying that you have to, but if you're able to do so, and I know a lot of people show that they do have iPads, but if you're able to do so, I would recommend investing in that, because just look at how much more you're going to save from paper and ink, and you're saving the environment as well. Tip number 6 is to use the study guides as a quiz. So when teachers, I know most professors do give you a study guide, like maybe a week before the exam, I would use that as a quiz, a mini quiz for me, so that I can know what's going to be on the exam. So how I would use the study guide as a mini quiz for me is I would review the study guide, I would make key topics that I would need to know for the exam, and I will do those notes separately. So once I've made those new notes, I will test myself with the study guide. So the last tip that I can give you is flashcards. I didn't start making flashcards until my microbiology class. I was using Quizlet for a long time, and if people don't know Quizlet, it's going to save you a lot of time and money essentially, because it's free. There's an app, you can use your phone for that, and you can always, like for example, if you're in line somewhere, you can test yourself. Quizlet's a really great resource, because you can have it anywhere that you go essentially, versus like taking a big stack of note cards like this. And so I really suggest that you guys invest in the app. So with Quizlet, it's great because you're able to see other students' flashcards in that subject, which is really nice, and you can follow along, or I think you can download them as a list for you as well. I'm not entirely sure, but if someone has already done the work from that class, you can obviously use that as another resource out there, and it's free. So, but just give credit to the person who did it if you are posting on social media and things like that. But I know it seems intense, like always reviewing, but I figured that if you study a little bit, like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day, that material is always going to stay in your brain, and you're not going to forget it. So that really helps me when I'm in line or elsewhere and I can't bring everything with me. I use Quizlet for those purposes, and I will just write key terms or key words and set definitions and things like that on the Quizlets, and I will just sort of, some people will go in question by question at a study guide and just add the answer, which is really helpful and really nice. That has helped me so much, because for example, if I'm for my philosophy class, I was really stuck on one question, and I just decided to Google it, and I found the answer from another student from a previous semester, which was very helpful. So obviously use those resources, use Google, those really help. But in my microbiology class, I needed to physically write down all these organisms, and I would write down all these organisms in different colors, so that I would just remember what each thing was. And I would just like write them all down, because you will be tested on them, and that way it was just visually easier for me to know and understand. And this professor that I had, he was amazing. He was one of the best professors that I had at the school that I went to, and essentially spelling was important. Like, we had to know the exact spelling of everything. So for me to not only write it on my whiteboard, on a couple note pages on my iPad, but also to physically write them out. And I noticed that I did get an A on the final. I got every single question right, which was, I think, unheard of. But I studied so much for that test and that exam that I was very proud of myself. I didn't think I was going to get all of the questions right, but I got all of the answers right because I got it 100% on the final for it. So I'm telling you, these things work. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it works. If you want to have that high GPA and if you want to have that competitive GPA, you got to put in the work, just like working out. That's the same exact thing, but this is just studying and just really sitting down and really taking the time to do that. I was just very grateful that I was able to do all of this stuff and really understand what everything was, how it forms, how it affects a patient, and things like that. So I feel a lot more comfortable going into nursing school with that sort of mindset and mentality of how to study. And I really hope that these tips help you as they helped me. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of things to do, but so if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, have a good one. Bye.